Market.
Welcome back, big dreamers. I'm Dan Sam, this is Lithe Racing. We got a lot of stuff going on in the shop today, so we're just gonna get right into it. Last episode, we stripped this guy down completely so we could get access to our last few fabrication projects. Number one of which was creating these kind of wheel arches, these wheel housings here. We wanted to extend them back a little bit further so we could get a larger wheel with a better turning radius in there. We've achieved that really. Where I ran into some trouble is I thought I could pie cut my way out of this guy, but that's ending up to be a little bit more of an effort than what I thought it would be. But we're just about there, so we're gonna finish off this side and then we're gonna get to work on the other side. Looky here, we have ourselves most of a wheel apron, with the exception of this opening here. I created this little wire frame to kind of help myself out on how deep I wanted to go here, as well as what the actual angles were of this this guy here. It ends up that these two angles coming up are not very true to each other horizontally, so you actually had to shrink the metal in a very complex way that I wasn't really familiar with. But what I did try and do was pie cut my way out of that. I've seen quite a few people get themselves out of some sticky situations with just pie cutting, and I was really hoping that this piece was just gonna be our final sliver in the equation there. But the more and more I shape this guy, the further and further that I am getting away from those gaps. And I think what I have going on here is that this guy is going up at such an aggressive angle, and then this guy's coming down at such an aggressive angle that they're not quite meeting right where they should be too. Like this guy is just a little bit more indented than this guy is right here. But what I think I can do is either beat this guy in a little bit and get a better idea of what this eye hole, really this little keyhole that I have here, is really gonna look like, or I can kind of pie cut just a bunch of little pieces of scrap and see how close I can get to both of these two angles, which I don't think would be too difficult either which way. We're probably gonna pie cut our way out of this, but I don't know what I'm doing right now. So this is all kind of, I was really hoping that this guy was gonna be the final key to the puzzle too, but the more and more I shape this guy, the less and less he fits in here in any which directions. You know, maybe like that, maybe like that, you know, I'll just tack it in right there and pound that guy into shape. It's actually looking like that might fit now. At least when I feed it up in that top section there. There's an egregious gap in behind there though. So yeah, I think I'm gonna hit this guy a couple times, honestly. I'm a little bit worried to do that because this is such a straight line that I don't wanna sit there and pound on it and really kind of mess it up, you know? But let's hit this guy with the hammer a couple times too and see if we can get her bent back a little bit. Oh, this stuff is just kind of bending this stuff up by hand, and just really seeing where you can go with it. It's like the flesh I get that, the more respectable it is. And I can just kind of work these two guys into place on the other side here, which I know they'll gotta go. I know it. That's how it always goes too. You really like the fitment until it go weld it up, and all of a sudden you see a couple of things you don't like. You start messing with everything all over again. I don't want to get too much of that adhesive on there. I can kind of start to form this around. She's still hot though. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's almost perfect. I knew once we got everything kind of laying where it should be, I really shouldn't take off any more metal. Gonna go bam, bam, you know? Don't fall on the floor, sweet little McGun. Woo. Sorry, bud. Woo! Pounded you too hard. Oh. Oh no. Oh well. I'm gonna need to go out to go in. Might be some of that leftover adhesive actually. I'm looking at it. Alright, where are you going? Where are you going now? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Wasn't paying attention somewhere. Uh-oh. Come on, bish. Come on. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I need to walk you back a little bit. Fuck. Ah. Ah. Is that doing anything? You guys tell me from your end. Is that doing anything? Give me a like. Give me a like if this is doing anything. Yes. Think that did something? Did that do anything? That did something. Gotta be in the. Oh no! It's gotta be in the hole there. You want to hammer on it, you know? Oh, it's all the way out this side now. Oh yeah, there we go. There we go. Oh yeah, that's actually starting to do something there. Oh yeah, you stay in there. As you can see, it's always a good time. You know, good time doing freaking sheet metal. Ah. It's like the world's most beautiful day outside today, and I'm in here, freaking schlabba-dabbing on this guy here. We want to go in. Come on now. Pete's sake, Dan, that doesn't look too gosh darn bad. God damn. Oh, feeling lively today because we're actually getting something done. It's like so rare that I actually get something done on this car. It's like I mainly spend a lot of time either prepping stuff, you know, to get something done. Oh, buddy, my gloves have seen better days. About everything in this garage is getting kind of worn down these days. Even the drill battery, she ain't even worn down. All right. Oh, bloody right. And go on the lowest spot. See if I get everything to even out. Might have to block you guys, I do apologize. Oh no! I said no! Oh! When I tell you what you go! Whoa! Do. Might just hammer on that just a little tiny bit more. Where's my dolly? Where is my dolly? Look at my bullshit, bow. Bow. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I made those noises with my own mouth. I did not infringe any trademarkings. Burn up a little bit of wire on that one. Bow. We're done. I mean, essentially we're not done, but I mean we're there, really. That was all the tough, gruff stuff, and you know, the other side is just gonna be fluff. No tough, gruff, just fluff. I don't even know if you guys can hear me over that welder. I might even have to voice over this crap here, but that's it, really. She's in there now. They're all part of each other. And that is how I'm gonna do her. Nothing even broke. I'm shocked. Would you look at that? I've finished off one of these guys here. There's a few little pinholes that I just need to go around and fill. I need to grind it down, obviously, too, but I think we're just gonna go ahead and move on to the other side. And then get around to that stuff when we get around to that stuff, really, too. We'll have just like one big grinding day party or something like that, but that's it. That's kind of the wheel apron there. Now let's move around to the other side, and I'll kind of show you guys how I got to where I was at there, and you know, kind of tack something in place, maybe. Maybe we'll go ahead and cut all of these pieces, maybe even weld them into place before we even do this, now that we have kind of a good idea of where we want everything to kind of lie. I tell you, if I was gonna do this again, I would probably recommend doing this on both sides at the same time, because this does introduce a fair amount of heat and a fair amount of warping up here in places where you really want the alignment to be. It wasn't too hard to manage if you kind of keep your head about you. You kind of just really weld on places kind of adjacent to each other too, and you know, watch what the gaps are doing and kind of try and pull stuff into places. You kind of saw me do that even with welding this guy, but I tell you, man, this 16 gauge material, it welds so nice. It's not hard to do at all, really. Almost everything that I build out of metal is probably going to be that from here on out. I will say it's kind of hard getting the 16 gauge to stick to the 22 gauge, especially after you've grinded on it a little bit, because it can get very, very thin, you know, and you know, trying to get the heat to fuse the 16 gauge to the 22 gauge can be a little bit difficult too, because the 22 just wants to punch through. And if you go down, the 16 doesn't want to melt at all, doesn't want to fuse at all. So it's kind of something you got to play around with quite a bit, I'm not gonna lie. Some spots I did better than others, but I know it's gonna hold, that's for damn sure. Whether or not it's airtight is another story, but we can address that stuff as we kind of go down the line, like I said too, and you know, kind of fill in some holes when we're grinding this guy up. But for right now, let's get some more pieces of metal cut. I got my old templates there, and you know, we're just gonna transverse them to the other side here and get ourselves some goodies cut out. Yeah. All right, so another day has gone by, but that's not without effort. We cut and started to shape one of these guys here. Actually, hold on. Let me grab the other one that we. So this is like maybe about like an hour and a half of trying to actually like form something here, but essentially it's not as easy as it looks. Really, I could probably take a 4-month class on this stuff and still not be able to really make what I wanted to right there. But I thought if I could at least get some of the shape in there too, that when I cut it, it would just be that much easier to shape. And I just think that was probably the wrong idea for what I already had going on the other side. With all these hammer marks and everything, it was probably already gonna look so different than the other side, which really wasn't a big concern of mine, is getting them to look exactly the same, but a little bit of consistency wouldn't be such a bad thing. The other thing that I really had to do, that I didn't do on the other side, that kind of caused me some problems when I was welding in, was dig through all of the seam sealer kind of rust proofing stuff that was on the actual backside of this guy. The other thing that I did too is I went ahead and started to trim the archway in a few areas too, so I could really kind of get a good idea of what the new fender line was going to look like here, and then start to kind of shape my piece of metal to where it goes in there. So we're almost to the point where we're just going to tack this guy in here, and then we're just going to start beating it into shape where it kind of connects with all of this stuff just a little bit better, the way it should at least. But overall, it's looking pretty good. The way that I kind of templated this stuff is I just kind of went roughly with my welds on the opposite side there, and just kind of cut them into their own little individual pieces. That would give me a better idea of what the shrinkage was that I was already looking at. Because those other pieces, I kind of had to, you know, start welding stuff and cutting it away as I went along, so the shape kind of became a little bit more dynamic as we went along, rather than just being the true form that I kind of cut from that template over there. But yeah, so that's about where we're at right now. I'm gonna do a little bit more squirreling around and just kind of wiggling this guy into place, and maybe seeing if I can get a little bit more contour to it that matches what we have already going along in here. We're really trying to match this angle right about here the most, which we could always just kind of kick it up into here, which is kind of the way I have it on the other side there, which definitely is not a bad way to go about this or anything like that too. So but like I said too, we're probably going to get this side going in here first, maybe even something like that. Get this side going first, and then we'll worry about hitting all these other lines after we kind of angle this guy with our good old hammer dammer right into place here. But yeah, it took a lot of prep. This side wasn't as cleanly cut, as well as it still had a lot of seam sealer. I kind of gave up on the seam sealer thing when I got over to the side and was like, man, I'll get around to it whenever I get around to it, you know, just today isn't the day kind of thing. And man, when I went digging back in there, I was like, damn, I still got a lot of this stuff. Oh man, which I'm done showing you guys digging at that seam sealer crap, man. That's I think that's already taken up maybe about like 5-6 videos, you know, but it's like every single time I turn around on a place that I need to weld, there's just a little bit more of that stuff. So you got to get it out of there. You know, it's just going to contaminate your welds, and you'll burn through and just have, it's going to be a bad time. You know what I mean? So might as well do the prep work that I didn't do on the other side, and do it over here too, and maybe save myself a little bit of back end effort right there. But let's start getting some stuff kind of tacked up here, and maybe do a little bit more fitting, and see where we're gonna land. Yeah. All right, so I got a couple tacks in there. You guys can see that's kind of the way she goes. This is how this magic usually happens for me. I think I got one all the way up in the corner there too. That's it. That's exactly what it looks like when you start to hit some of that seam sealer. It starts to gobble up, and it makes a god-awful noise too. It makes it sound like you're drowned in a walrus or something like that. It sounds like you're drowning a creature that can normally live underwater. is what that sounds like. But yeah, so I just kind of got this line right up here, got this line going, you know, and it might have a little bit more of a lip than the other side, but you know, I just kind of like that as the fender line right there too. So we'll be able to go through and weld and grind back and get that as flush as we want it to be, which might not be that much really. Let's check my finger. Oh, hey, stop it. Let's go back to your home. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, gimbal operation troubles. But yeah, you can just get a couple tacks going, and that also gave us the line that we need to kind of come in here as far as the contour, and just even giving these guys a bit more depth gives you a far more degree of what you can fit inside this wheel well. I think I mathematically came up with it too, and it was like 15% larger radius that you could fit in this area here doing this like this instead of pounding it out. That's just how I made myself feel okay about doing it this way, you know. But yeah, that's about how she starts looking when she's roughed in. I'm gonna get this corner going in here where, you know, I can't fit my finger in behind there, and then we'll start tacking in this lower piece, and we might even just tack in that center piece while we got this all going too, you know, and just kind of really mash everything in there as a whole, really. I don't know. Let's get this side beat in here. Let's get this little guy beat in, and we'll go from there. All right, how's it sound? You guys are with me. I know you're with me. So we just kind of welded this guy. Like I said, we just kind of tacked it all right along here. This little is this guy cool? Yeah, this guy's plenty cool. All right, yeah, we just kind of tacked her all along in here and kind of created an artificial fender line right there for a bigger fitment of some tires there. And what do you guys call these things? You know, what do you call them in your neck of the woods and stuff? I always call these guys like maybe like a wheel apron, wheelhouse. You know, whenever somebody was calling up asking for one, you know, or yeah, just wheel apron. Really, they always came as like a humongous chunk that was just this entire like kind of strut tower portion, and then all the way down got this entire portion of this frame rail, and then it would almost always kind of come down into this guy too, and then had this section up here, and you're kind of, I guess, meant to tie all these portions together. But that's what we got going on. That guy right there. It's not too bad. We did go fit in the lower piece. I should have checked with the template. The templates look pretty good when I was just like, you know, holding them up and looking at stuff too, but I think you guys can already see what's going on there. As I kind of get a little bit closer here, I get a gap right up here. Right up here. Gapping out right there. So I can already tell you what's going on is that my angle here is probably a little bit more aggressive than next door, which isn't too bad, you know what I mean? We want more aggressive than more shallow. But I think what we'll do is we'll line up the corners and then beat them in until they meet as closely as possible. And then we'll just feather in a little piece right up here. When it's just that 16 gauge, I think you guys saw earlier in the video too, it's not too difficult to weld or anything like that, at least not for anybody of my skill level or lower, which if you're lower than my skill level, I feel bad for you. I'm as low as they go. I'm base level. You know, we can keep on driving it up in there too, but we already kind of cut this piece, so we're already matching up with this line right here, you know, so that's already what we got, you know. But that already welded in pretty good, so I'm feeling pretty confident right now. I'm gonna try and shape this piece of metal here. It's not this piece of paper. It's like, go in there, paper. Turn to metal. Bing. I wish. I do have to say this is some of the more difficult stuff that I've done, really, or at least it's not intuitive to my brain here. But you know, taking the lessons that I learned on the other side and applying them over here, this has actually gone a little bit better, knock on wood. And let's get this other piece shaped up, and we're just gonna keep on flying right along. I almost feel like, me personally, I don't know if you guys suffer from this too, but the quality of your work can stagger you out quite a bit. You know, you just, you know, perfect is the enemy of done, you know? And I think for my skill level, I'm already doing pretty darn good. Whenever I run across other stuff, I'm always happy with what I'm doing, you know, because I kind of feel like they're doing the same thing, you know? And, yeah, I don't know if you get too much better than that, but you know, it can be difficult, and if you try hard enough, I'm sure you could get a perfect product, you know. But let's go racing. Let's go racing instead, and maybe have some of these things not 100% perfect or the way that, you know, a professional would have done it. But it's gonna work. It's gonna work. I can tell you these type of things are gonna work, because this stuff's definitely gonna stay stuck. And you know, that's what we needed to do. Whether or not it looks fancy and you know, stitch welded and nice little even movements and stuff like that, you know, I don't know if we're gonna capture that on this particular build, but maybe the next go around, right? There's always the next one. There's always the next build. So let's get this one done, and you know, so we can show everybody. I want to come out and show you guys this thing, you know, and take you guys for some rides maybe on the track, you know. That'd be fun. That'd be fun. Except for I'm still having a hard time fitting the freaking gas tank. Gas tank's still looking like it might be the passenger seat. So if any of you guys are down to ride on a gas tank, you let me know. I might have a seat for you. Little gas tank seat. It could explode. Ejection seat. So I'd call that just about a done product there, or at least where we took off from the very beginning of the episode, on the opposite side there, on the driver's side, for us in America, which would be the left-hand side. Over here on the right-hand side, on the driver's side for you guys in Australia, we kind of learned a lot, like I said, from the other side there, and we kind of employed all that stuff, and it came out a lot better, honestly. I'm very happy with how all of this kind of laid in here, really. There's some stuff you got to fill in there, you know, but it really isn't that hard. And a lot of times you can grind back this 16 gauge until you really can't even tell that you put something in there. And the main reason is that I don't know how to shrink or stretch and get all of those different little contours in the metal. But this is just as easy, kind of, you know, or actually it's a lot easier, I should say, going through and just cutting what you need and fitting it on in there. And that's all she wrote, really. You guys have been awesome to me. 100 and something views on the last video, and God, like a week. Whereas some of my old videos, I don't think I ever got over 40 freaking views too. So thank you guys so much. Really appreciate you guys all watching. Everybody has some crazy builds out there. Make sure you're working on them. I'm trying to do my best to stay working on this dang thing. Next time you guys see this guy, we're going to be working on the back there, getting that one all tied up. I also have a humongous intercooler that I'd love to get fitted in this guy, but I don't know if that's going to work, honestly. We might end up selling it and just getting something a little bit smaller that we can kind of tuck in some areas. But I have yet to see too big of an intercooler, but this one might honestly be too big of an intercooler, so we'll see what we do from there. But I think that's going to do it for us today. I'm just going to go ahead and finish welding this guy in here and cutting the last little 2 pieces there. But nothing too crazy here, really. Just getting that all done, and then the front end is all buttoned up. We can move along to the back, and man, we're gonna get this thing painted, and we're gonna get the engine dropped in it. I don't know if we're gonna make any races this year. I really wanted to get this thing out on the road and make a couple races, but I just don't know if we're gonna make it this year. Kind of bummed out to say so, but that's just the way she goes. But LYTHE Racing, peace out, everybody. Keep those wrenches turning. Bye.